Let other people
Thank you, Nicholas.
express their views.
What the bloody hell was that?
It was me. Is that not good enough?
No.
Not even close.
One of the worst I've ever heard. It was almost non-human.
It was really, really bad, dude. Out of tune, bad tone, weird tone, actually. Not pleasant. None of the things you want singing to be.
Welcome to this week's episode of Musical Talk.
Hello.
That was brilliant. Or fantastic, some might say.
Yes.
I love that.
A direct rip-off, well not a rip-off, just a copy of the recent American Idol episode where they had this guy called Nick Zitskims or something come on, and he sang oh my love, my darling, I've hungered for you, love, you know that song.
Mm-hmm.
And he just murdered it, and I just thought I'd change it.
Change it so that's you.
Thank you,
singing.
Nicholas. So we're welcoming Dom back into the Musical Talk studio.
Hello.
You heard on the Superstitions episode. We're mixing the presenters round a bit. Next week we're going to have Tim Saywood and Thomas Ribbits start their presenting career on Musical Talk. So
very good.
It's going to be very exciting. And Dom's here to speak to us
about many, many things,
Yes,
because
many.
I'm a wise man, or at least I like to think so.
This episode could run into 4 hours long. The amount of information, the amount of inflammation Dom has to get through.
Pointless inflammation that I have.
The bulk of today's show, as we've said in the last episode, is going to be talking about musical drama and education, which is what your degree is in. You have lots of views on drama education.
Yeah.
And because the last show is about training, so now we're going to go on to the education side. We're getting very serious here at Musical Talk.
I know.
And Dom's also come back from the Big Apple.
Yeah, well, we said last time I was on, I said I was going to be going to New York early in the year, and so I did.
I didn't know you'd actually go through and actually do the task that you assigned yourself.
Yeah, well, it said the task was we had a question about Mary Poppins, which I actually can't remember what the question was.
The question was he thought it was sort of made more made not as dark for Broadway.
Right.
Because he heard the London production was dark, and he was interested as to how the Broadway production compared to the West End production.
Well, there you go.
So now you have someone here, me, who's seen the West End production, and Dom has seen the Broadway production.
See how good we are for all the listeners.
Oh, we're bloody brilliant.
And so I went to New York for an audition.
You went to New York just for this question.
Oh yeah, and for that question, especially. Okay, I went to New York. Let's rephrase that. I went to New York to answer the question.
The Musical Talk budget is now gone.
And while I was there, I thought I might as well audition for something too. But I'll probably talk about that later because I'm quite happy. But yeah, so I saw a couple of shows on Broadway because I was there for only 3 days, so I thought I might make the most of it.
Yes.
And one of the shows was I got a very good seat to see Mary Poppins.
You like 4 rows in the front.
Yeah. And I sat next to a woman who had not nice. An elderly woman who had a lot of problems with her throat, and throughout the whole show had to keep going.
Ooh.
I was quite scared until I got used to it. Managed to drown the sound out, and then could listen to all the singing. So, but yeah, I did. So, all right, I saw Mary Poppins on Broadway, and I will admit, I think it was it wasn't entirely light-hearted, but it for me the whole show was very Disney-like in that sense, not just
funny that,
funny that, seeing as Disney and Cameron made it. So it had a lot of, it wasn't that dark because the lighting stages they used were all-encompassing and very pleasant. The costumes they had were very bright. I mean, even the fact that the Step in Time number, the shirts that they were wearing, for me, were whiter than white. Even though the rest of it's covered in certain bit of thing. Actually, no, the dance had whiter than white shirts,
Well, it probably had to be to get the contrast of
so,
the soot
yeah,
and the white.
So exactly. So for that, I don't think it was that dark. The the moment the
I
song.
think by dark, I think means more in content rather than
yeah.
visual.
So, but I mean, the whole thing comes together because your content is reflected by your stagecraft, and your stagecraft reflected by your content. You know, it's everyone learnt about pathetic fallacy when they're reading novels at teenage level.
And if you don't know, because I know some of our listeners are about like 13 years old, pathetic fallacy is, correct me if I'm wrong.
I will. Okay, let's.
Like,
all right, Nick.
If you have, I mean, the best example is if you have thunder in outside a house, you know something bad is going to happen. It's basically signalling something bad happening.
Pretty much.
Hey!
Pretty much. Not bad. Not bad. Yeah. It's so if ever you see like yeah, actually that's a very good example. If ever you watch a movie and someone's about to kill someone and it's a rainy night and it's a stormy night, that's pathetic fallacy. You've managed to save the day and the sun's come up.
They walk off into the
fallacy.
sunset.
Exactly, pathetic fallacy. Yeah, so
why is it called pathetic fallacy?
I don't know that. I'll find that out for the next time I host a
disease.
show. Yeah. Oh, he's got pathetic fallacy. Oh, unlucky. Yikes. Wherever he walks, it's always thunderstorms. Unlucky. Anyway, yes. So Mary Poppins. Getting back to musicals, I don't go on tangents as much as this team of Nick and Andy. I'm going to stick to my guns here. Musicals. I went to New York to answer this question.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to talk about.
Get on with it.
Mary Poppins. So the content. The only sort of number for me that actually was like, okay, this is dark, was the Brimstone and Treacle
yes.
number, because obviously that nanny was a horrible character. So even then, the lighting stages were duller. You know, it was greens and blacks, very evil colours on stage, especially when mixed together.
Her dress is just black and white, isn't it?
Yeah.
As opposed to Mary Poppins,
but
which is all the.
Having said that, I still found that number kind of playful.
Yeah, it's very Victorian melodrama.
You know, yeah, and because of that, I didn't.
Brimstone and Treacle.
Yeah, and all that. It
reminds me of my favourite things.
Yeah, actually, and by that you mean the song, not
Yeah.
just what you like
My
to do in your day.
My
Yeah.
favourite things in general. I like Brimstone and Treacle. But we were in a musical of Smike.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? And they
Oh
had-
yeah,
and-
well,
and-
yeah. I played Nicholas Nickleby. I was quite pleased with that.
Very good. I played Smite. No, I didn't. I played someone else. But they had a song in it called Fire and Brimstone or something. Or
I can't remember that. But Nick, that was almost 11 years ago now.
yeah, but last week you played me singing a song from before that. We played on the street. You heard this. We played on the street where you live when I was about 11.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, you've got a better memory than me, so you should know. What? Okay. What was it? We were singing. Wasn't it about gruel and
No,
it was feeding them or something?
I don't
wasn't it?
remember it being Brimstone because that was, the Victorian thing you.
Yeah,
discussing.
exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, it's like sulphur and sort of.
Yeah, it's in other words, it's disgusting. You
Yeah.
shouldn't eat it. But there you go,
gross.
Mary Poppins and Smike, lots of fun for children who've been good because they don't have to eat it.
Yeah.
But so even then, I thought that was a very playful number. Even though that was for me the darkest one, I still kind of enjoyed it.
Of course, Temper Temper's
So-
a very dark number as well.
Yeah, but actually, yes, very dark number. And I heard that song before I saw the show.
Yeah.
It wasn't as dark as it was in my mind.
Okay.
Without me sounding like
No,
a nut job.
Now maybe
In my mind.
I mean I can't comment on this, and maybe they've made it lighter for the show.
I think maybe this is what the question was directed
Yeah.
at. I think maybe he's right. Perhaps London for the London and English audiences is darker because Broadway I thought was razzle dazzle and lots of fun. There's a lot of musicals in the big places in the West End, Broadway, even off West End sometimes. You find they are, and I think this ticked all those boxes. So it wasn't
Certainly.
that sinister for me.
But there were good amounts of sinister moments if you are a 6-year-old child.
Oh yeah, and actually, I got to admit, I love the show, and I'd like to talk more about the show, and the other ones I saw. But there are a lot of children in the audience, and I have no qualms. I used to work with children. I have no qualms with lots of children going to theatre. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm also one of those people, and we'll talk more about this, about drama education, that children shouldn't just go see theatre in the big stages with big things. They should go see fringe theatre and off-Broadway stuff and things like that.
Like in London, we have a theatre called the Orange Tree Theatre.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is great for kids because there's lots of interaction.
It's a beautiful theatre that's in the round. It seats about, I think, 300 or so people. You know, you can cram all these kids in. But there were lots of children in the audience with their parents had clearly taken them to see Mary Poppins. And what was really nice, just being, you know, we are members of this industry, was at the end, you had so many children go, "That was incredible!"
Yeah.
Or, "That was awesome! I loved it!"
Lots of
And
English
from all ages.
Lots of
all
English
ages.
people there then.
Yeah, lots of English. Only tourists on Broadway, there you go. New Yorkers had other things to do. But
Coming to London.
Yeah, to see Mary Poppins.
It's like the Actors Equity Trading Association.
But no, there were tons of children. It was actually really nice to just hear that the show had such an instant reaction.
Yeah.
Because not many shows do, and it's good because that chances are they'll want to go see more theatre now, and a lot of the time, you know, you'll see theatre which you don't always agree with or you don't always like. You'll like bits, but you don't like the whole show. And I was really thrilled to hear so many young voices really enjoy Mary Poppins, because that means that they'll go to the theatre more. You know, hopefully they'll join a youth club. That's always fun. Youth drama clubs are great places to meet people and develop confidence. But again, that's getting into drama and education, which we will talk about later. Later on the show.
Tell me about the cast.
The cast, well, for me, who stole the show, actually, the two children, I've got their names here, who played Jane and Michael Banks. There was Catherine Fornan as Jane Banks and Henry Hodges as Michael Banks. And Henry Hodges was fantastic.
Because I remember in the London show I saw all the kids were, because it's in quite a large theatre in London, and all the kids were speaking with very refined accents, but they were accentuating every single thing which they said because they had to get everything heard, and they big arm gestures and things. And
but that's, I mean, they're children, you know. It takes years for actors to develop the skills of being on stage. In fact, bring that point up again when I tell you about
I'll
the
forget,
third show.
I'll forget.
Okay, well, brilliant. All right, no need to say that then. I'll remember it. I saw another show which wasn't a musical, but I'd still like to talk about it, and that's a good example of it very difficult to hold a Broadway stage, and so I can understand why children would clip all their words and really enunciate.
Is
because
that
they
a
have
term,
to.
clip?
Yes.
Cool.
And
there'll be a glossary online at the end of this show.
Well, Henry Hodges as Michael Banks. They both actually did very well, sang very well, very entertaining. But what was good was he had some really cracking, that English colloquialisms for good lines. And he hit his mark.
She may be tricky, but she's bloody good.
Yeah. There you go. And he hit his marks on all of them, and that was really good. I thought it was fantastic. He did a very good job. I get nervous anyway going onto a big stage, but this boy did an incredible job. And always they have, you know, two pairs of children because they can't have them on every night. I think that's illegal. For the
they probably have more pairs of children.
Yeah, because they'll have their understudies for them as well.
5 pairs.
Yeah, and just because, you know, they grow up faster than the actors do for the, you know.
It could be like this, and then
the next thing you know, but
like
they did a great job. But for me, the person who did steal the show was Gavin Lee.
A Brit.
Brit. And wasn't he the original?
He was the original in West End.
In the West End, yeah. And he was fantastic. I mean, it
no
just
offense
blew me away.
No offense to Dick Van Dyke, but it's nice to have someone on stage, you know, you do an accent.
Well, actually, you know, for years, all right, and I come from London. Growing up, I watched Mary Poppins. Thought that was his real voice. I thought he was English.
A lot of people think it's one of the most offensive accents in the history of acting.
And I'm sure he took that offence all the way to the bank.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. But Gavin Lee was superb.
I mean, there's one moment in the show which you won't give away for those who haven't seen it, where Bert steals the show, literally.
He does. And you know what? It was so good that at that point, which was in the middle of a song, he got rapturous applause, and on the balconies and some people behind us actually stood up and gave him a standing ovation in the middle of a song. I've never seen that happen before in my life.
The only time I've heard of this happening in London lately was on Idina Menzel's final performance of Wicked, when she said, "I'm the one you want, it's me," and she lifts up and everyone, apparently 3,000 people just got on their feet and just cheered.
One last time, I guess, on
Weirdos.
the West End. Yeah, well, Yeah, the phenomenon that is the popular Wicked.
Or the popular phenomenon that is Wicked.
Well, I was going... Anyway. Yeah, so Gavin Lee was superb.
Good.
I just thought he was fantastic, and lots of. It was a really good show. Actually, one thing which I really liked about this, which was quite refreshing. I'm a singer, and he's a singer. Nick's.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're great singing in this, but actually they had a big ensemble cast and fantastic dance sequences
Dancing.
in the show. Just with
Matthew Bourne, who choreographed it.
And Matthew Bourne's...
He's one of the greatest British choreographers ever. He has a very famous Nutcracker on every
right.
year. No, sorry, has a very famous Swan Lake on every year. The all-male cast of Swan Lake. And, literally, Cameron employed the best British talent
to make sure that this works.
And Disney employed the best money.
Yeah, because that's what Disney do.
And we had Julian Fellows, who was an Oscar-winning book writer who did the book for Gosford Park. I think he did the script for that. And we have Stiles and Drew, who did the score, who did Honk.
Yeah. So there you go. It shows. It's
Bob Crowley. Or Crowley, I think, who did the set design, who's just directed Tarzan, which you've also seen.
Yes.
Which is a nice segue, I think.
Which is a nice segue, yeah. We'll move on to Tarzan then, Oz.
Now, I'm very curious about Tarzan, because I was never too excited about it, because I'm not a huge Phil Collins fan. The idea of a drama writing a musical doesn't really excite me very much. But I know you like Phil Collins.
I do like Phil Collins. It's my secret shame.
Someone called him the Antichrist at school once and got a round of applause.
Yeah, I have no idea why. But no, I actually loved the film Tarzan, one of my favourite Disney musicals, because it actually made me feel something.
A catharsis.
And that's good. I think a lot of Disney musicals don't do that for me. Some of the films do, but the stage shows have done. Beauty and the Beast springs to mind. So I thought. I went up and said, do you have any tickets left? And they said, yeah, we've got some for tonight. So I thought, might as well. It's not every day that I'm in New York, or else I'd be living there. So I bought myself a ticket and saw the show. And it opens fantastically. I won't tell you what they do, but they have a very clever way of opening the show. It's not just lower the lights so that everyone knows it's going to start. It's a very clever way. And then the opening sequence also got a rapturous applause. I will admit... I think in America they applaud a lot more than they do over here in England, so that's a bit of a shock for me, being a stiff upper lip Brit. But it deserved one. The opening was really stunning.
Do you think it's good enough to come to London?
Gosh. You know what? I enjoyed it, but I don't think London audiences would. I think they'd think it's too... Obviously... this sounds like a bit of a silly thing to say, but it's too Disney.
I do like the fact that every Disney musical has a British writer in it.
And also, the actress, I can't remember her name, my favourite performance was the actress who played Jane. And I couldn't tell if she was English or an American putting on an English accent. It was that good.
That's very good.
It was polished, and she had a really great script, some fantastic lines with a lot of double entendre, because she's there, very prim and proper around this man who wears a loincloth and is built like a brick. And so she had some fantastic lines because of that. Very funny. And she actually, for me, she was the one who stole the show there. So who did you say did the set design, the stage design for Tarzan?
Well, I think it was Bob Crowley, but I know he directed it.
Right. Because
and he did the sets for Mary Poppins, another Brit. Right. And I think he may have directed it. We'll have to check.
Yeah, we'll check that out.
I think he did, though.
Post on the forums and say if we were right. But the set design and things that props did in Tarzan were very good.
It sounds more like The Lion King than other Disney productions, because there seems to be links like getting the opening number being the best bit, and of course it being set in Africa or wherever it's set. And,
on this desert island, and you've got monkeys, gorillas, fights against jaguars and leopards, and animalistic. And
so, do you think Lion King had any influence on the?
I think maybe they looked at the formula. What makes Lion King so? How long has Lion King been running it in? Is it the Lyceum? It's running here.
Nearly about 8 years.
Yeah, it's coming close to the odd decade now. And maybe they looked at the formula and just said, how can we, replicate this with another show, which is a lot of time what makes a successful show. But I did enjoy it. I didn't see a bad show while I was in New York.
I don't think you can.
You can't.
Unless you really look for one.
Yeah, you go out of your way. In which case, in the old postmodern world that we live in, if you went out of your way to look for a bad show, when you saw a bad show, that means it'd be a good thing. Think about that. Think about it. And
I learnt about postmodernism at university, actually.
That's very good. Everyone should.
Which moves us on to our main topic of the day. If you're done with...
Well, I was going to talk about New York, but I'll find another segue later.
We'll have the big announcement.
I'm going to try and out-segue Andy in this show, and I'm going to go... I'll segue it near the end. Yes, education and drama in education and getting educated in drama and through drama. Because it's a whole array of things that are going on, especially in this country. Where the arts over the past, what's the year now, 2007? So the arts over the past 17 years have had a massive influx of money. And sometimes I think it's not being spent where it should be.
Where is it being spent on at the moment?
A bit of it goes to what's called TFD, which stands for Theatre for Development, where people from England or America go off and use drama in what are termed as, and this is another problem I have, third world countries.
Right.
Now the problem with that is we live in a world whereby we no longer say third world country, we say less economically developed country, because to call
LEDs.
LEDs. Because to call another country third world implies that their culture is backwards by comparison to the one that you live in, which is quite frankly wrong. Because every culture is different. That's what makes it a culture.
Every culture is backwards compared to any other
someone
culture.
else, because it's it's your environment that you live in. Now, I am against TFD because I don't like the idea. But TFD is again a very new thing, so it's changing. It's always changing. So my opinion might change in 10 years. But right now, I'm against the kind of idea that a Westerner has the authority to go into another country and tell them what they're doing wrong. That seems a bit presumptuous to me.
Hello, Iraq.
It's to say in a country where they have huge problems with disease or famine, or they have their towns. I come from the Philippines, and there are some towns and provinces there where they have no clean water by them. And in my mind, instead of raising £2,000 for plane tickets to go out there and do drama to heal these people, I would take that £2,000 and help make their water clean. I think that would improve their quality of life.
It seems to be more gratifying for the actors, rather than
and so, but there
audience.
It's a big argument, and you're only hearing one side of it from me because I'm against it. I have actually lots of friends who are facilitators who have done it and adhere to it, and they say it's fantastic.
As Andy would say,
they've fantastic. And they, people I know who've gone to Kosovo and done work out there. People who've gone to South America and done work out there.
What they should be doing is they should stage a show in London where people can afford to pay £50 a ticket, and then give all that money to the countries that need it.
Well, I mean, it's a big kettle of fish, this one, because again, it's very new. Theatre for Development is a very new concept. It's only about 15 years old in its sort of professional sense, and I'm not for it. But likewise, I don't think any of our listeners, by all means, take on board what I said. But to go do your own research if you're interested in that kind of thing. You might disagree with me. That's the beauty of freedom. But it gets to me. It's this arrogant presumption that they know better. I think a more effective Theatre for Development wouldn't be called Theatre for Development. That title kind of gives it away for me. It's like for development of another country using your techniques. I think Theatre for Development could be changed as perhaps a theatre for exchange, whereby it's a cultural exchange. You know, the RSC did one with the Chinese theatre very recently, last year in fact, and they swapped. So a Chinese cast came over and did a show for the RSC, and the RSC went over to China and did a show for them. And Chinese theatre is incredibly different to English theatre. It really is. And so that, to me, is far more effective.
Yeah.
It's demonstrating new skills, new tools to
and
improve.
it's educating at the same time.
Exactly. That, I think, is a far more worthwhile endeavour than the arrogance of saying, I can show you how to live your life better. You know. But that's just, you know, that is my opinion on that one. That's one of the subjects that, you know, drama goes out into more.
So, do you think drama education is obviously different than it was when, say, our parents were at school?
Absolutely.
Were they even taught drama?
You know, well, it was a specialist subject, and only until for us about 10 years ago, they started making students at secondary schools study it at least once, because for children, and this is, you know, I used to facilitate workshops, and I still do organise workshops, and I'm in contact with a lot of theatres here in London who do outreach projects. Youth drama centres are fantastic places because drama is a great way to increase the confidence in young people.
So let's link this to our podcast and talk about the NYMT, which is the National Youth Music Theatre, which I think run by Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah, and I think isn't Cameron Mackintosh one of their sponsors?
Probably.
I think. Yeah.
And
probably, yeah. Give to charities. You got the money.
But as I say in the next episode, we're going to have Tim and Thos do their first show, which is very exciting. But Tim is a member of something called the MMD, which is the Mercury Musical development, which is it's open to anyone, and you can go on. You just sign up and you go and listen to talks. And they're having Styles and Drew come, who did Mary Poppins, are going to come and give a talk. So that's good if you want to get into musical theatre writing. Yeah. If you want to get into musical theatre writing, the only course in Europe is the one I'm on.
Really?
At Goldsmiths College.
Wow.
Of course, the famous one in New York is at NYU, the Tisch School of Arts, and which I looked into, but it's very expensive. It takes 2 years, and here the masters takes from a year, literally from September to September.
And I know, in the same vein, it's not quite the same course, but there's a very good Masters in Composition for Film and Music for Film and Television at Berkeley in America, but again, unbelievably expensive.
I'm probably more competitive than...
Yeah,
because that's
Berkeley.
Yeah, but because that's a very... not hugely specialised. Not as a smaller field as musical theatre is, if you see what I mean.
You know, and that I think is kind of the key that the point that you've made, where the course you're on is the only one in Europe, is because this industry of theatre, the wider industry of the drama, entertainment business, but musical theatre as well, there's almost no formula to it, unlike other jobs where you're dealing with numbers, facts, figures and things. Obviously that business side of it does come into it, but into creating something, there's no formula to it.
The question lecturers always asked at school is, how do you write a hit musical?
Yeah.
And their answer is, if I knew, I wouldn't be here.
Exactly. How do I write a hit play? Same answer. A very popular show, cult show here now, was by, not a musical, but just a good example, by Ricky Gervais, called The Office, and it's now been translated, starring Steve Carell in America. And actually, I love the American one. I might even prefer it to the British one.
Ooh.
I know, God, that'd get me strung up over here, but I do. And that's a good example. He didn't really have much to do with drama. He just kind of wrote it for a laugh and really enjoyed it. You know, that he really wanted to do it, and he had a writing partner. And so they got signed, and it's fantastic. It's now a cult classic.
Do you think learning something... I'm finding, coming from me, especially this will shock Andy and may shock you, I'm starting to get a bit sick of musicals. Do you think learning...
Oh my God. Okay, that's revolutionary.
Do that again?
Oh my God. That's revolutionary in so many ways, Nick. Not only is that because it's your choice of study, not only is that because it's your career, it's also because you host a podcast about musicals. Our listeners don't want to hear you say you're getting sick of them.
I'm not saying I am sick of them. I said I'm slowly starting to get a wee bit tired of musicals.
Okay, well, why is that, Nick? Why is that? Do tell.
Because they're ripping them apart. at school, which I think, getting back seriously, I think it really sucks the enjoyment out of something if you're tearing it apart constantly and saying, what's the writer trying to say here? How does the teachings of Freud apply to this modern musical? And I'm interested in learning the writing, but I'm not hugely interested in analysing dance steps from Singing in the Rain. And it's really tearing the
magic out of it.
Yeah.
Which is, that's completely normal. I mean,
God for that.
I filmed a film, a feature length this time last year, and it took me 8 months of watching TV and films before I stopped saying, "Oh, that's an interesting shot," and "Oh, why have they gone for that shot? I wouldn't have gone for that," and critiquing it. Because it's your profession, you have to do that all the time. I think in your study, that's why they encourage you, because you don't have to do it as much in the professional world.
If you're just a theatre goer.
Not everyone is, and also if you're creating it. I've done projects now where not everyone cared about the practical aesthetics of moving your hand from one leg to the other, but we studied it at school. It's so that we can. It's giving you the tools and the skills to do so if you so require.
I mean, to me, this feeling for me started when we were analysing Shakespeare, coming up with all this, psychological theories that weren't even invented by the time he was writing.
Okay.
And people coming up with theories, saying he's writing this, but how can he be when he didn't know about it? It's just, in this postmodern world, that's how we look at things.
Yes.
Because we have to. And we find excuses for all this bull.
Well, I mean, you bring up an interesting point there. Again, drama in theatre, in education, sorry. How do people study drama? Two very interesting points you bring up there. Shakespeare is taught on a lot of English curriculums. That's great, okay, but shouldn't Shakespeare, considering he was a playwright, be taught in drama lessons? And shouldn't they learn about that technique of acting?
Not sitting down in the classroom and reading a play.
Exactly.
And maybe if you're lucky, watching a video.
Exactly. You don't think about it. It's a style, it's a craft. And the other point I have to make is, they revere Shakespeare, they interpret every line he did. My opinion of it is the man was a professional playwright. He was paid every couple of months to write plays for a theatre. If he didn't, he wouldn't be paid. I don't think there's genius in everything he wrote if he has to work like that. He was a normal man like the rest of us. It's a profession. You are paid to do that, and the calibre of your profession is the amount of taste you have in what you can do with it. It doesn't mean that everything you put down on pen to paper is a work of genius. It's ridiculous. That's humanly impossible.
In one episode, Dom and I are going to discuss genius.
Oh, God. Yeah, there are two things that you know about it. Genius and also talent.
Yes.
Which I was going to bring up now.
I've actually posted that in the forums about, we're going to have an episode soon about talent versus skill. Everyone says that sounds very intriguing. It's a can of worms, someone once said.
It is a can of worms. And I'm one of the people who's pro skill as opposed to talent. But another episode.
Yes.
And another time. So getting back to kind of the musicals you're saying about, it's a specialist thing. It really is. So how to make it a hit. How to sell tickets.
I mean,
and things.
I suppose it's good to look at musicals that are a hit, because then you can learn how to apply it to your
and the formula. And
shows.
A lot of the time, it's like a producer. The producer's job is to find a good product. The creator's job is to make a good product. The producer will sell it. There's a show right now going on in Soho. It's not a musical. There's a play by Sarah Kane. And it's a show called Blasted by a theatre company called Grey Eye, and I'm a fan of Grey Eye's work, but I'm not a fan of Sarah Kane. Sarah Kane, I think, is really overrated, and she committed suicide. And her last play, some people believe, was her suicide note.
See what I mean?
I just, she got lucky, in my opinion, because when it first came out, audiences ran away because it was so disgusting. They thought her plays were so offensive, and now that she killed herself, everyone started revering her.
That's a great thing how Prince once said about musicals that last will be the musicals that when they first opened, people were walking out of. Like when West Side Story first opened, you'd say to someone, oh, I walked out of that, and so did 30 other people. But it's still one of the greatest.
I love it. I love West Side Story.
And I think it shows to have. I mean, this goes into another episode topic, which Dom and I may discuss, or maybe someone else. Is what makes something good.
Good, yeah. Well, what does good mean, and then
or
how do
popular, or
Yeah.
I mean, this all goes down to an essay I've just done, which I may post online. It depends how good mark I get.
no one plagiarizes it.
About enlightenment versus entertainment. The popular musical will always entertain rather than enlighten.
Yeah.
Discuss.
I mean,
Go.
Discuss. I mean, with my drama production company, we've got a kind of creed, our guiding mission statement, and one of them is that we want to provide intellectually stimulating and entertaining pieces of drama.
Yeah.
Because we want the combination of the two. We don't want to spoon feed our audiences didactic answers and shows, but likewise, we don't want to be so intelligent that no one watches it. So that's kind of worms number 2, I think, there, and they probably link together. But
if you want to find out more about Dom's drama company, Equinox Drama, there is a link on our site.
Yeah, there's a link on the site. Or you can email me. There's a link to my email, and you can email me. And
you're going to have a new website soon, aren't you?
Yes, after this weekend. So
very nice.
if you can have a look now, but then if you
just wait till next weekend.
Yeah, wait till after the weekend, and it'll look quite stunning, actually. It looks very good.
The day we're recording this episode is actually earlier than when you're hearing this episode, so the new website is probably up by now. So have a look.
Oh, we've just gone into a time warp. Oh,
let's do the time warp.
Again. Anyway, sorry, Nick. You were saying about kind of, what makes a hit, what constitutes an effective, marketable product for you to sell, especially in terms of musicals. And a lot of the time, look at this, the same names keep coming up for popular musicals. Cameron, Weber, Disney, because they know how to do it. And because they've got a track record, audiences believe that their hard-earned money, it's not cheap to see a show on Broadway or the West End, so you want a good show for your hard-earned money. You want to go with someone who's got a track record of delivering. And
the interesting thing is, these people weren't really taught how to write or produce.
Yeah.
They were just,
They acquired the skills, and I can guarantee you, the way they got them was by making mistakes. I mean,
taking a risk.
Yeah, taking a risk and actually failing. I started working in this industry when I was a teenager as a professional, and I've made a lot of mistakes, and that's why I'm better at it now. Because if everything went right, you wouldn't know. A
mistake made is a lesson learned.
It really is. It really is. And so, the more you write and the more you put yourself out there, the more you learn how to get it effectively right and have a good show. Right being R-I-G-H-T, not W-R-I-T-E. Okay. Brilliant. There you go.
W-R-I-G-H-T, a mixture of the two.
Oh God, yes. Anyway, they're my 2 cents about it.
I mean, if you could change anything about the drama education, whether it be school or university, what would it be?
Well, I mean, I actually, the course I'm on is at a place called Central School of Speech and Drama.
What do you want to see happen?
And this course is actually fantastic, in the sense that it's an undergraduate course of drama, applied theatre and education. And so it covers all these new realms of using drama, where to use it, how to use it, how do you use it effectively, what does that mean, what does it mean to you, and not many other places in Europe again do that. So if you're interested in it, I'd suggest looking at the course, ordering yourself a prospectus. Just
we'll put a link up on the site.
Yeah, it's a very good course for that. I don't know what I'd change. What I'd do is I would put more money into doing workshops, facilitating workshops and a network where young people and children of all ages and all backgrounds can go into these and have a good time, a disciplined time, because there's discipline in the craft of drama, a great lot of discipline, and their confidence will grow, and that will help them achieve more later in life. It really does. I really believe that. I mean, we're actually in the process of setting up what's called the IFN, which is the Independent Freelance Network, in London, and it's meant to be a union of theatres and schools that want to do those workshops for children. We will organise it for them and have a pool of freelance facilitators with the relevant skills and pertinent skills depending on the client group that can do it. I mean, I actually met with a fellow yesterday who now does music composition for film and TV called Andy Mallon, and he was actually the creator of a great show I was in a couple of years ago called Jews in Space, and he does on Holocaust Memorial Day. They go in and he and his partners go to many different places, and they have a big group of children, and they compose new songs with these children about the day. And the children, of course, are Jewish, and and it's not about how good the song is. It's about the fact that the children have ownership over it. They've created it, and because they don't have the skills, these professionals give them the skills. They loan their skills.
Aren't many Jewish songs for kids? I mean, the best Jewish song not lately, but as for modern kids, has been the Adam Sandler song, where he lists all the famous Jewish celebrities, and before that it was really just the dreidel song, and that's it.
But just this is for them, and
that's great that
Andy,
he does it. And
Andy said, at times you get people saying,
not our Andy, the Andy.
No, this fella's called Andy Mallon, and he's a very creative man. And
try and get him on the show.
Actually. Well, I mean, he's written a lot of music, and he's worked with the likes of Leanne Rimes and Kelly LaRock. So he's and he's always in the industry. I'll see if he is free at all. But he lives outside of London, unfortunately. That's what they do. And so there you go. It empowers because they compose their own song. They don't have to have 10 years of training to do it. It's a fun group workshop.
Yeah.
And the objective is, we're going to make something fun for you to sing and be proud of, and that bolsters their confidence, their enthusiasm. It's a device for that. I
remember something great when I was, I think, in year 9, which would be 9th grade for the listeners over the pond, called a reading period, where we just had to sit there and read for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And we had this great English teacher called Mrs. Babuta, who was a really nice, fun...
intelligent teacher, actually. Very intelligent. The
kind of teacher everyone wants.
Yeah.
And every other week, she would take us to the drama studio, and we would do drama, we would improvise plays, improvise comedy skits, just let off some energy, but she would guide us as a drama teacher would as well.
Well, exactly, and that's, in the industry, we term that not as a teacher, as a facilitator.
Right.
Whereby the students, the participants, are coming up with all the material. The teacher or facilitator is guiding them along the way, making it crisper. Very different to a director's job. It's a very specialised skill. And that's the kind of thing that the IFN that we're doing is looking into, finding enough of those people, because there are them around. But they're all going off to do workshops abroad, as opposed to for the children here in London.
Now, you've heard the interview with Stephanie J. Block.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the big points we always come back to is, if you want to do drama, do it. If you want to do something else, do something else.
Yeah, but I mean, that's as a profession, but,
yeah.
I'm sure a lot of places you have your local theatre group who put on shows, so you can be your banker 9 to 5 and rehearse in the evening just because it's fun.
So you think you don't have to, if you want to get into drama, you don't have to necessarily go to an educational establishment to do that?
If you want to get into drama, it depends what side of the profession you want to be.
If you want to be a performer.
Say you want to be an actor.
I mean, this goes back to last week's show when we were talking about...
Okay, say you wanted to be an actor. What the pros and cons of going to an acting school. I personally believe you don't need to get one. I think the best thing you get, or the best thing you can get from going on to do a BA Honours in acting or an acting course at a qualified university or something, or drama school, is you get an agent at the end of 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because an agent sells you. That's how you get auditions, that's how you get things. And that's what it is, because the whole industry is based on networking and who you know. The agents know them. The agents know, and producers and casting directors get to know the calibre of talent that the agents put forward. So I think the best thing you can get out of an acting course, either a postgrad or masters or whatever it is, and you get different strands and different kinds of acting, is an agent.
Will people as auditions care what school you've been to?
Yeah, some of them do. Some of them do. In fact, I mean, a few years ago, I remember when I was still looking at schools and things, and there were the Big Five here in London, whereby the Big Five were known as the Bristol Old Vic, Central School of Speech and Drama, Guildhall School of Music and Drama, LAMDA, and RADA. And if you
now LAMDA's the London Academy of Musical and Dramatic Arts, and RADA was the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts.
And some of the RADA's been going on for eons or something.
That's where all the great Shakespeare.
Yeah. I mean, that's where
musical theatre fans would know Jonathan Price, who went to RADA, and I mean, just look in your playbills, and you'll see.
Well, that's why that's why the Big Five, because it got to the point. You go to the West End and you see all the lead characters. If they've had training, it's normally from one of those places. But likewise, you don't need it. I have never had any formal training at drama school in singing, but I've had singing lessons outside of drama school, and that's why I can sing. I can play the guitar because I taught myself. I never expected to be a great guitarist, but I wanted to be good enough that I can play.
Lots of guitarists teach themselves. I mean, I taught myself about 3.5 chords on the guitar, and
and it's about acquiring those skills. I think drama school and acting courses are very fruitful for some people, and not so much for others who are on acting courses. It can be hit and miss, and also you got to make sure that it's the right school for you. That's something that a lot of people overlook.
What are important things to look for when you go for an open day at a school, or when you look at a school for the first time?
Well, I think
drama.
You've got to for acting. You've got to, for performance, whether it's in musicals or things, you've got to look at the location. So actually, the facilities that they're offering you, because it's a lot of money. So you've got to know that the facilities they're offering are worth how much you're going to be giving them. Also, look at the other people who are there. What are the students like who are already studying there? Because if a lot of them seem really nasty to you, the ones that you join might also be nasty. So you got to look at the kind of people they take in. Look at the alumni. Because if you like the
of course, the famous alumni from Central is Laurence Olivier.
Of course, they have a big concrete bust of him in the entrance, and
did he have a big concrete bust?
I have no idea, but in Central they have at Central, all right. Just so you know, in case none of you have seen it, we have these concrete steps, big steps up to the main entrance, and each step has the name of someone famous who came from there.
Are you on it?
No, I'm not famous.
You are now. You got a podcast.
I've got a podcast. Hey, all right. That's where all the listeners. If you want my name on Central Steps,
just get a pen and write on it.
Yeah, right in there. But I mean, the likes of one of the ones I'm going to bring up is Jason Isaacs, who's a very good actor, came from Central, and his name is on the steps, and he's got a new show called Brotherhood, and it's fantastic. I love it, and so that's why. So the caliber of, and I think of that actor, and I think, God, he's good. His training must have been good, so I'd go to his kind of place. I'm trying to think of who else came from other places other than there. I think Orlando Bloom came from Guildhall School of Music and Drama, which is a very good one. In the Barbican, fantastic facilities.
Of course,
there.
Another famous school is the Sylvia Young Theatre School, where practically every pop star, in British chart history since 1990, I think, has come from that school. That's all the Spice Girls and things, and S Club 7,
and that stuff. These kind of performers. But I mean, but it's not just to say those big five. There are other ones: Mountview, Artshead, East 15.
A lot of people can be intimidated though by these big schools, and I think that probably puts a downer on them when applying.
I mean, one thing which I found, I was a producer at Ealing Studios, and one thing I found at some casting calls and things is sometimes you get casting directors who, when they see your training, put you in certain roles. So if they see someone's come from RADA, they're like, well, they're going up for the lead. If they see someone's come from Arts Ed, they're ensemble. They automatically just switch that.
Discrimination.
But I mean, because they have an assumption about the training. So they.
Yeah, the training represents what they've learned.
Yeah, so that's why it's so important.
Arts Ed is very dance.
Dance.
Very singing.
Yeah.
I actually went when I was very young, because Arts Ed is down the road from the Musical Talk Studios, and I went when I was very young for a sort of. I was a student for a day at the Arts Ed school. I think I was put in the wrong group of kids because I was 8 and I was with a group of 17-year-olds. So I think that didn't.
Brilliant.
I think that's a bit of a mistake
Brilliant.
there. And you know, it was 3 hours of ballet in the morning, then fight, then sword fighting, and then singing, acting, and then home. And it was one of the most boring days of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it was great for them, but probably due to the mess up that I was putting them on.
Yeah, and also they're much bigger than you, and you've got to fight them. Stage combat is something where you really should be.
No, I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting there watching. Which is probably why I was bored, especially in the ballet class.
Right.
Not that I don't like ballet, I just don't like... Anyway,
carry on.
But it was interesting in the fact that they weren't really... I seem to remember them... Remember, this was a long time ago. I seem to remember them being left on their own a lot to do a lot of... there was a teacher who just sit there and just say...
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that uncommon?
No. I mean, they're not children.
Yeah.
Were they?
No.
No. They're older, bigger. They, their own development. If they want to get more, more out of the course, they've got to put more in. Well, frankly, it's the same. And I'll tell you that for any kind of any acquiring new skills. This is what I mean, acquiring new skills. I couldn't always sing. I had to acquire the skills.
I could sing once.
It's
the reverse for me.
Yeah. So you've got to make sure that the place is right for you, and the course is right for you, and it's really again, is how much you're going to put into it is how much you get out. And some people like Russell Crowe, for example, Oscar-winning actor, he wanted to go to acting school but couldn't afford it, so he worked to save up for it, and in working he got roles, and that's how he managed to. And so I remember him in an interview saying by the time he got to the point when he could afford it, he was already in the industry and he was getting roles, so he just carried on.
Now, this is sort of similar to your sort of educational background in a way. Is you did 2 years at Central.
Yeah.
And then you took a year off.
Yeah.
And ironically, you got more done in that year than you would have if you stayed.
Well, just because I gave into my own ambitions.
Yeah.
And pushed to actually get into the industry. And working hard is not enough. You've got to work smart as well. And so you've got to do both of them. You've got to do both of them every day, because the day you don't is the day you get fired or lose your job or lose your ambition or you don't do a good enough job. So I did, and so I got a lot done in my gap year, and that kind of made a lot of headway into the industry. I got my foot in many doors.
And that's now going to help you for your final assessment at Central, isn't it?
Well, yeah, just because you can draw on your own knowledge and experience, and it's like theory I'd learned.
We're not saying to everyone, skip school and.
No, of course not, because it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
Some people, I know some actors who, after their training, it really helped them. Fantastic. Now they're polished actors, but other ones who didn't need it and who didn't need it. They got an agent early on, and they just mastered their craft through their career, because there's no such thing as being the greatest actor. It doesn't exist.
Yes, it does. He's in this room with me.
Oh, thanks. Andy, you walked in. No, there's no such thing. It's you. The more you do it, like anything, the more you do it, the better you'll become at it. So 3 years is a good way to get some training under your belt.
But you have to continue that afterwards.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like any skill, the more you do it, the better you get at it. If you stop doing it, you get rusty at it. So that's why you see a lot of actors sing all the time, even when they're not working, and when they are they sing all the time. Got to keep those vocals. They do vocal warm-ups, stay in healthy shape.
And at the moment is rehearsing for the producers, even though he's been doing it for a year, because he's going on tour and he has to
make sure he's up to scratch.
Yeah, and he has to interact with the new cast members and things.
Yeah,
so,
so he can't be a slouch about it, And so it's. You will always progress. The more you do it, the better you'll become at it, and you'll always progress because you always believe in it. You put more into it, and you learn from what you didn't like about your performance or whatever it is you're doing. And so, I mean, there's nothing really more to say about that.
Well, you've come very far. So far, in fact, that you're going to have to move across the ocean.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I went to New York.
That was a nice segue.
There's the segue. I was thinking about segueing earlier on, but then you asked me another question. I thought, blast! I don't get a segue. All right, next
Only
episode.
I may segue.
Well, you know what? Next episode, I'm hosting. I'm going to out segue Andy, especially if he's on it as well.
Yes.
And then we can have this segue battle between performers. I like it.
Segue Jewel.
I went to New York and saw some shows, but I went there and auditioned for a course at the Atlantic Theatre School. Because there's a course there which I like the look of.
Is that a derivative of NYU?
No, they're
not
they're
a derivative,
they're kind of they're
affiliation.
Yeah, they're kind of really buddy. I don't quite know the system in America, but they're really buddy.
They're buddies.
They're buddies over there, and so things like
they drink beer together.
Many applicants. For around 30 places. Mm-hmm. So I went over there and did the audition and thought it was an alright audition.
Yeah.
And then they said, and I asked when will I know? And they said, well, the course doesn't start until June, late June, and we've got our final auditions I think in April, so it might be like February, but we'll let you know. And then yesterday I opened my email and there's an email from them that said, congratulations, you've been accepted, and I was ecstatic.
Of course you were. Brilliant.
And
another presenter that's buggering off. So.
Yeah, going off to America. So I'm going to be going to live in New York come June 2007 for a while.
What we would like to do is sort of give. I know you're going to have no time because we talked about this on the other episodes.
Yeah.
Is maybe present us. I presume you have a laptop with you or something. You can.
Yeah, I do need to buy a laptop.
Maybe
before I go out there.
Maybe just record some couple of snippets of New York news, and we can play them on the show.
Yeah.
Technology is great that you can just send
it instantaneously, but
congratulations, that's marvelous.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's a really good course, and like Nick said, it's very, very intense. It's 6 days a week, and then they kind of expect you to
25
give up your evenings and possibly your Sundays for rehearsals and more training. But seeing as I'm moving my life over there for a while, I'm more than happy to do that. Keep me occupied.
Now, why have you gone to New York to this course? Why do you think it's different in America than it is in?
Well, no, it's not.
England?
It's not necessarily that. It's the actual course itself. Is this school of acting that was set up by David Mamet and William H. Macy, and it's this particular kind of training that it's like a new version of like your Stanislavski or your physical or Grotowski kind of train of thoughts. This is a new one that they came up with, I think, in the 70s, and it's just fantastic. It really their way of approaching acting, interpreting scripts, performing, agreed with me. Whereas a lot of other skills I've learnt that other people have taught me don't. Mm-hmm. They don't lend themselves to my skills. It kind of goes opposite my instinct to perform.
Now, is this the only school in the world that does this course as regards?
No,
to England
I think they've got a sister school in Australia.
Okay,
I think,
that's rather long
and they've got another school in LA.
So I mean, there's no school in England that does it yet.
No, not that I know of. I mean, look it up. Atlantic. They've got the Atlantic Theatre Company, and part of the company is the school, Atlantic Theatre School. So look it up. Very interesting stuff. For performers, and so that's why I'm heading over there.
Well, I wish you all the best on
it. Oh, well, you'll see me beforehand.
Sure,
I hope I'll do another show before then. But yeah, so I'll go over there. One thing which I did love about New York, nothing to do with musicals. Here's a tangent coming. Mm-hmm. Road signs. Over here in England, we've got road signs.
Did you drive in New York?
No.
Okay.
I walked around. But here we have, it's when you can't park somewhere, it says, red route, do not park here. In America...
Hey, asshole!
No, in America, no fooling. In New York, these signs
no
I saw... No, it said, do not even think about parking here. I couldn't believe it. That's a threat! Maybe I was in the kind of stereotypical mafia side of town or something, and that's where the Godfather parks. I don't know. If we have any listeners in New York, if they could email me saying, I've seen those signs too, it wasn't just a prank, then I'd know it wasn't a one-off. That'd be very helpful for my sanity. Brilliant. Yeah.
Do not even think of parking here.
Yeah. And think was in the biggest letters.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll leave that. We had a great time today talking about drama and education.
Yeah.
I think we barely touched the surface.
Yeah. It's I would encourage people to go.
We may have a reprise of this.
Yeah. And if other people are interested, post a message on the forum, and I'll look, and I can always.
If you have any questions, just ask Dom on the forum or email him.
I can send you some very good authors or titles of books that discuss it in more depth in different aspects of the drama world.
Dom would expect the essay to be on his desk.
Yeah, before. Morning. Yeah, absolutely. Minimum 700-word introduction. Thank you.
Minimum 700-word title. And next week we'll be talking with Tim Saywood and Thos Ribbets, 2 new presenters, as we said before, mainly about pantomimes, which is be great fun.
I'm missing out on the pantomime show. Oh, shucks.
Well, maybe you can come and help us.
And he's been in pantos, hasn't he?
Yes, he has been.
Yeah.
So that'll be exciting. Yeah. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Nick Hudson and Dominic Lindsay Beaton.
Well, thank you very much for having me once more.
It's all right, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
This has been a production of Musical Talk. If you have any questions or comments, please call the U.S. Musical Talk line on 206-338-6302 or the UK Musical Talk line at 0700-593-0764, or you can email us at musicaltalk@hotmail.co.uk.
And time goes by so slowly, and time can do so much. Are you still mine?